Yeah! Time to split!
I'll get the next one.
So, I was playing Homefront the Revolution the other day. No, I wasn't. I actually brought this game to play another much better game nestled inside it like a Russian doll. And that game is... TimeSplitters 2 Redux. And you too, you can play this game right now. You can set it all up in maybe a minute or two max. I'll put the links for everything in the description. So make sure you've got Homefront the Revolution installed, then download TS2 Redux, run the installer, then boot up Homefront, go to extras, and now, easy as that, you can play TimeSplitters 2 with everything unlocked. The only downside to this method is that you have to buy Homefront Revolution, but it's only about £15 on Steam, so it shouldn't set you back too badly, and you don't actually have to play it, so it's not all bad. However, there is another way you can get not just TimeSplitters 2, but also the other two titles in the series. That's the original TimeSplitters and then Future Perfect, which is number 3. So this way is completely free, and that method is with an emulator. So it's a little bit more complicated to set up than the Homefront method, but on the plus side, you don't have to play Homefront, so there's that. So first off, download the latest nightly release of PCSX2, which is a PS2 emulator, and make sure you install it in the documents or downloads folder. Really doesn't matter where, as long as it's not in program files, as that folder path is write protected by Windows. So follow the setup wizard, launch the emulator, then download a PS2 BIOS file. Like I said, all the download links will be in the description, so don't worry about finding it. And then place that in the PCSX2 BIOS folder. Now, you need to find ISO files for the games you want to play. Unfortunately, I can't provide links for these, but if you Google the name of the game you want followed by PS2 ISO file, it shouldn't be hard to track it down. Then go to Config and Controllers, Plugin Settings, and set up your keyboard controls. And finally, go to System and Boot ISO Fast, and select the ISO file of the game you've downloaded. And that is how you play TimeSplitters in 2023. So that does answer the question in the title of this video, but what I've given you so far is a very basic, very bare bones overview of what else is available. So let me go over a few additional or more advanced things you can do, things such as BIOS dumping and ISO extraction from a physical PS2, and if you own it, the CD, the physical game disc, how to emulate TimeSplitters on Xbox or GameCube if PS2 is not your thing, online and LAN play, and have a look at some of the mods included with TS2 Redux. And then to finish off, you might have heard of it, or have a look at a little project called TimeSplitters Rewind that may well become the next entry in the series. So let's say you wanted to play TimeSplitters using an emulator, but you grew up playing it on the Xbox or the GameCube instead of the PS2. Well, fear not, I've got you covered for these two as well. So for Xbox you can use Xemu, and for GameCube you can use Dolphin. Now, I'm not really going to talk about Dolphin in this video, because if you know anything about Nintendo, then I think you can probably guess why. However, what I am going to talk about is BIOS dumping, which is a way to get the files needed to run the emulator itself and any games by extracting them from a physical PS2 or Xbox console. as this is the legitimate, not quite a shady method each emulator tells you to use on their website. So I did mention downloading the BIOS files earlier, which is obviously much easier and also your only option if you don't have a physical console to hand. But now I'm going to tell you how to get these needed files using the intended and legit method. So we'll start with the PS2. Now first you'll need to download the biosdrain.elf file and then download the free Ninite ImgBurn software and use that software to burn this file to a blank and unused DVD-R or DVD-RW disk. Now insert this into the PS2 as well as a blank USB drive that is FAT32 formatted, and to check this, right click and select properties, make sure the file system being used is FAT32. Now when you boot up the PS2, select ulaunch.elf from the menu, then select mass and then run biosdrain.elf. The process can be slow sometimes, but you'll know it's all done when it displays the finished everything message. You can now take the USB drive out and back into your PC, and if you've done it correctly, it'll be full of files that end with a .rom or .mvm extension. Now finally, open up PCX2, go to configs, plug in BIOS selector, then select the corresponding file path. I think it makes sense just to use the default path, but that's up to you. So now just click apply and then OK. So now that we've dumped the BIOS of the PS2 itself, we can move on to dumping the contents of the actual game disks. So with ImgBurn running, place your game disk in an optical drive and then select create image file from disk. Once this process completes, you should have an ISO file of that game you can now use legitimately within PCSX2 to your heart's content. Now for those of you who prefer to play on Xbox rather than PS2, process of getting the files you need is slightly different. So first thing you need to do is open up Xemu, select the machine tab and select systems from this drop down menu. Now from this list here you can see the required files that the emulator needs to run correctly. So you can download these files from the GitHub link in the description, then click on this little page icon for each file and select the corresponding file and folder path, and then restart the emulator and you should see this screen. So now we have these files, the last thing we need to do is get the disk image or XISO file, this being the game file itself. So there are two ways you can do this, either download via Google search or a site like this one, or use XISO Extract to retrieve the XISO file direct from the game disk. Stick the disk in an optical drive, then select Extract ISO, choose a disk drive as the source and a folder of your choice as the output. Now you have the base game installed, you can try out a wide range of wacky and wonderful mods. So here's a few of my favourite ones.
Well, look what we have here. leaving Entropy Arena alive. I hope you know that.
So, now that you have the games and the mods installed, you have access to all of the single player content. But what about online play? Well, even now, in 2023, there's a thriving TimeSplitters online community which you can join using either one of the 3 main emulators or one of the 3 consoles. First, sign up for an Xlink account and download the Xlink Kai software. Now, for the PC SX2 emulator, you first need to download the latest nightly release, which I think is version 17.5 at the time of making this video. And then you also need to download and install npcat, which you can set up using the default settings. Next, start PC SX2, go to settings and network and HDD, check the enabled option and set your Ethernet device type to PC AP switch and your Ethernet device to either Ethernet or Wi-Fi, depending on whether you're on a wired or wireless connection. Next, open up Xlink Kai, switch from Messenger mode to Arena mode and select PlayStation 2, and finally select the arena for either TimeSplitters 2 or Future Perfect. Then launch the game, go to Network, then Online Play, and find or create an active match. For the Xemu emulator, click on Machine, then Network, and change the Attached to drop-down menu to UDP Tunnel, and in the remote address box enter this IP address. Then click Enable and close the window. Now open up Xlink Kai and again switch from Messenger mode to Arena mode, select Xbox, first person shooter, and finally TimeSplitters 2 or Future Perfect. Launch the game, select Online Play. It's the same process essentially. And this also applies to the Dolphin emulator, which I know I said I wouldn't talk about, but I think just explaining how to set up online play shouldn't be a problem. All you need to do is go to Tools, then Netplay Setup, and you then have the option to either host a game or connect to one. That's about it for Dolphin. Now for the consoles. So take your Xbox, GameCube or PS2 console and connect your PC to your router and your router to your console using 2 Ethernet cables. Now I think honestly this video has gone on long enough and I don't want to waste your time or mine by repeating myself again. So I'll tell you what, instead I'll post a link to the TimeSplitters online Discord server. It's got all of the online setup guides for the free consoles and the emulators and everything else you could want to know, really. I think it just makes sense to do that. Okay, so now you know all you need to know about the current TimeSplitters games and how to play them. But what does the future hold? Good question. Well, there's two main possibilities. TimeSplitters 4, which is currently in the works at the now reformed Free Radical Studios, and TimeSplitters Rewind, a community project run by volunteers that aims to bring all of the content of the first 3 games into a more modern engine, this being Unreal Engine 4. However, Rewind isn't the only passion project in the works, so here's a selection, sort of a selection showcase type thing, of some of the most interesting fan-made games in development or coming up.
and ready to roll.
Oh yeah, and one more thing.
Rocketing up to the station, we're nearly here. Move swift, shoot fast, and feel no fear. But now it seems we're just a little too late. And going through the portal, uncertain is my fate. A 600-year time span to be searched. Oblast damn Siberia is where I'll head first. Body snatched in the form of Ilsa Nadir. Sniper rifle in hand, yeah, the mission is clear. Find the first crystal, leave no stone unturned, and make sure every one of those cabinets is burnt. Access the tunnels, finish the job, my work here is done, I think it's time I was gone. Down here on the mean streets of Chicago, J-Cap for Tony's head, yeah that man's gotta go. Get the info from Marco, now you in the know. Escort the man, infiltrate the club, put a bullet in the head of this fat corrupt schlub. Now we shooting up heads in the cathedral, dark and evil spirits down here, ephemeral. Jackie Dillon Moore, about time this man was caught. Viola here to save the innocent maidens, remove the zombies' heads, it's the only way to save them. Down on Planet X, put a hex on a T-Rex, boy you ain't gonna believe what comes next. Cause what comes next is the wild wild west. Elijah Jones got a bone to pick, if you're in with the colonel then you in, deep shit. Here's a bullet, get acquainted with it. Ain't nowhere that I'd rather be. Ramona's saviour, yeah that's me. It's time that this town was free from the Colonel's evil deeds, yes indeed. Harry Tipper's in a bit of a predicament. Callus got entrapped and escape is proving difficult. Luckily the laser reflects just right. Better defuse the bombs, timing's gonna be tight. And then on to the next time, I guess we timed it just right. That'll do for now. Tune in next time for more, and cheers for watching. Adios.